Hey everybody, welcome to Connecting Cannabis, brought to you by Wrazel. I am, of course, your host, Brian Holler. I hope everyone's doing well out there and enjoying themselves today. On our show today, we have Charles Warner, CEO of Innovative Properties Worldwide, and of course, Editor-in-Chief of Cannabis Tech Today. We'll be talking about the importance of education and outreach and the effects of the current environment on media and events and how to adjust, and even some tips and tricks for business owners in the cannabis space moving forward. But first, of course, I would love to talk to you about California Lightworks. Since 2008, California Lightworks has been guided by a vision focused on the research, design, development, and manufacturing of state-of-the-art commercial LED grow lights and automation equipment for greenhouse and indoor horticulture. By applying the latest advances in high-efficiency, solid-state lighting and controls technology, their team provides worldwide growers new grow lights that deliver clear benefits at a competitive price. Backed by their solid reputation for standing behind their products, California Lightworks also offers industry-leading warranties on all their commercial grow lights. So to learn more about California Lightworks, go to californialightworks.com, or to view their investment opportunity, go to the investment marketplace at wrazel.com. All right, let's bring Charles Warner in. Charles, how the heck are you doing today, sir?
Hey, what's going on, Brian? Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. So how's things going today?
Not too bad. It's been a really busy week. A lot of podcasts, cranking out a lot of content and things like that, and planning some big stuff kind of right around the corner. So we're definitely staying busy over here. Lots of moving and shaking.
Yes, and if you could, I guess briefly, just talk to us a little bit about Cannabis Tech Today. It's a magazine, obviously, but it's more than that. It's a website and more. Kind of elaborate, if you would.
Yeah, absolutely. So we should be busting out like a cake and some candles, because we are, I just realized this is our 2-year anniversary.
Hey!
Yeah, right? Woo!
Right.
Cannabis and Tech Today, we launched at MJ Biz Next in New Orleans 2 years ago, back when we had events.
Hey, yeah.
Back when that was a thing, we could go places and stuff.
Yeah, where we got men people and stuff and all those sorts of things.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, we're dedicated to just focusing on the innovation, the tech, and the science in the cannabis industry, with a particular focus on sustainability, science, technology, engineering, and math, and just really focusing on the brands that are driving the industry forward. And we do that through a nice $10 coffee table quality magazine. Like you mentioned, we're also digital, podcasts, email marketing, social media, and just really, we've got an incredible team and an awesome network that allows us to put out a lot of good content.
Yep, and absolutely. Full disclosure, Wrazel it certainly works with Cannabis Tech Today and has in the past, and I would hope continue to do so in the future, obviously. They are a great resource. I think it's all logical to see the alignment there. They focus on, the business end of things as well in terms of science and innovation and technology, and we're often promoting brands that do the same thing. And so that is our relationship there. So I can vouch for Charles and the team at Cannabis Tech Today. Just amazing stuff. So please go check it out. In fact, let's kind of get into that. You guys have kind of pivoted a little bit. I mean, you're doing things that you already were doing, but you kind of increased volume in certain directions while other things had to be put down. Can you kind of explain that a little bit?
Yeah, I think this is what everybody's doing right now. I'm sure a lot of people that are listening or watching right now are nodding their head saying, yeah, we had to kind of change some things up during this time. I'll give you an example. Normally we get an order, for thousands of copies of our magazine to go to be distributed to all the Barnes and Nobles and newsstands. Well, that order was a little bit interrupted. Yep. We normally ship thousands and thousands of copies of our magazines to events where they're distributed for free to the people that attend the events. That order has been, gone, right? So we've definitely had to pivot. What we do know is that we are essential right now, not only deemed by the state of Colorado as media, but we have an important role, just like the other media partners that we have out there. people are starving for information and content and real information. Don't even get me started on all the fake stuff that's getting shared out there. But, this has to do with science. This has to do with business. This has to do with innovation and pivoting. So my team feels an extra responsibility to be bringing good, valuable information that can help the industry. And so that's really what we're focusing on. A lot of podcasts, webinars, just putting out content that's actual practical application for people in the business right now. I mean, ultimately, we feel a responsibility, just like those other essential businesses out there, to help drive the industry forward through these tough times.
Yep. And we echo those sentiments, obviously. I would think that an emphasis on education and outreach is something that is brought up on this show often, not just because of current circumstances, but because of the space we find ourselves in. People in cannabis or who are interested in it, it is very important for all of us that work in the space to really push out honest and forthright information that, we know that we can vouch for and that's, clean. Instead of kind of a lot of people maybe trying to take advantage of the situation. So how do you navigate those waters as a media outlet yourself?
Very damn carefully. No, I mean, seriously, it's, I think people are starving for authenticity.
Yep.
I really do. I think that they're starving for authenticity from where they get their news. I think they're starving for authenticity from brands. I think that they're starving from authenticity from our leaders. I think that really it's very important right now that we keep our eyes on the ball, that we are smart and we're pragmatic about this, and that we listen to science, but also that we're able to think outside the box and be creative, in ways that, like I mentioned earlier, businesses can pivot.
Yep.
Businesses can find ways to get things done, even though that you can't travel. I'll give you an example. A lot of salespeople are ditching the face-to-face appointments, and they've learned how to sell complicated projects and very expensive items in the cannabis industry, doing it just like we are right now, with Zoom. So I think what you're going to see is this is kind of a renaissance period for a lot of businesses, a lot of organizations. And I think that it's also a really good time to strengthen relationships. Because we're all in this together, and quite honestly, you can get everybody right now.
Yeah.
Everybody's at home.
Yep.
Everybody that you want to reach, that you want to do some business with, or you want to do a project with, or you want to, they're not traveling for business. They're not at an event. They're very accessible right now. So I would say that behind the scenes, where it's possible, and I'm not trying to demean anything as far as what's going on across the country. This is a very serious situation. And in some places it's a lot worse than others.
Yes.
But there's definitely a lot of, I think, breakthroughs happening for certain businesses and for certain organizations right now. And you have to have access to good, solid information to be able to make those decisions.
Well, one thing I've talked to a few people who are sort of, in our category on this show. And a couple key themes keep coming up. And one of them is, like we're talking about here, take stock of what you have and really lean into it and really evaluate your situation right now because people are there so you can do things. And then the other one is, I think as, a marketing professional or a media professional like yourself, I bet you that you have been encouraging brands or partners, clients, et cetera, for a while to adopt some of these things, right? To push on them, right? And now what I think to lean into your kind of renaissance statement, I think what you're seeing now are things that aren't going to go away once things kind of readjust. They're going to be incorporated more often, I think, into the overall branding or marketing efforts of a given company. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think that this is going to just go away in a couple months. I don't think it's going to go away in a year. I think that you are going to see a lot of these things become adopted, throughout the industry, within the industry, businesses, everything like that. Because let's face it, times have changed. It's a weird situation. It's something that maybe happens like once every 100 years. Right. And when these things happen historically, people come together, people people pivot, things change, but the most important thing is that, we get through.
Yeah, agreed. And it's funny, you were mentioning trade shows and things. I think one of the biggest things that we're going to see, and this was even prior to Corona, you've been to enough trade shows, especially in the cannabis space. Who makes the most noise? It's people that make it an experience, and there's usually some sort of multimedia connection there, right? There's an engagement. They've woven in social. Maybe they're live streaming at the event, and they're showing off their products and stuff, just like you normally would at a traditional show. I think you're going to see, to your point, a lot more integration in that way, and you guys will be uniquely poised to help folks do that.
Yeah, I think that, at the end of the day, commerce has still got to get done. Business has to be done. There's a massive growing market for cannabis and industrial hemp and everything else. So that's not going to stop. It's just going to really come down to how businesses adapt, how they communicate, and not just externally. Internally, it's important as well that you're, you're keeping your whole team on the same page as far as with communication and stuff like that. I mean, I would say right now, communication is more important than ever, internally and externally.
Absolutely. And I'm sure, obviously Zoom's going through the roof, and I'm sure Google Hangouts and Google Meet are experiencing similar kind of growth and engagement, which they should. These are things, or Slack, all these different types of, communicative, business to business, internal kind of tools, are very needed right now. Which also kind of goes into, right, one thing that's interesting about communicating certain messages, especially when you're really in a niche like, cannabis tech, or, you're really specific. One thing I know you and I have spoken about before is the importance of storytelling, right? The importance of bringing out, I think that's, speak a little bit, if you can, about how to make it, quote, more engaging and more entertaining, because sometimes the material can be a little dry.
Yeah. I think that first and foremost, it's important that brands are empathetic. Be real, be empathetic, and communicate, because every brand has a story. Every person has a story, and your story is powerful. And if you can communicate with clarity right now, there's a lot of people listening. We've seen our numbers, podcast downloads have gone through the roof. Our web traffic last month, we had the biggest month we've ever had. And that's across 3 different titles and 3 different websites. So people are home, they're consuming content. If you subscribe to magazines, you're excited to get that in your mailbox right now. Hell, you're excited to get anything. And we're finding out that this is actually a good time for organizations to be communicating and to be authentic and to be telling their story, because there's a very engaged audience right now. People have a lot of time on their hands, not as much traveling, not as many things pulling them in different directions. So brands can make relationships or build inroads to customers with that kind of emotional engagement that otherwise is very difficult to achieve.
Yep. And you're right. And it's kind of win-win in a way this way. Obviously we want to be empathetic. So win is kind of maybe a wrong term to use, but it fulfills a lot of purposes. Best practices right now would be to be more personal, more personalized, more transparent, right? But this is also what people are craving based on the data you get and see. So what a great time for you to start rolling out your approach to that, And if you could, maybe talk a little bit about the variety. I think a lot of people get stuck in I have to have a figurehead who can go talk and do a bunch of podcasts and, all this sort of thing. And they're like, oh, that's not me. Or, I'm nervous about that. I think there's a lot of other ways to get there. Would you care to elaborate on a few of those?
Yeah, I think that, and this is something that gets brought up too. A lot of times people are like, okay, we're in the B2B space. We don't need social media.
Man.
You don't need it. You're not a consumer product, but it does allow you to create that emotional connection. Just put out some content. Put out some stuff that brings value. You're obviously very smart in your category with whatever business you do. Sure. Share some of that. Have somebody that's comfortable get in front of the camera. Record a quick video. It's not that hard nowadays to put some production value behind it and everything like that. Bring some value in social media. Just make sure that you're putting stuff out there so that you can communicate and engage with other people on social media, because right now, we're more connected than ever, but it seems like people are starving for true, authentic connection. And it's important for brands to at least make the reach out. Don't be afraid to put some stuff out there and to communicate and start building an audience. It could be a blog. It could be a podcast. It could be a video series, but really this is a great time to reach out to your audience. And again, reach out to collaborate with other people out there.
Agreed. I mean, if you don't have somebody who's doing the kind of the rat-ta-ta-ta, like maybe me or you would do, it doesn't, you still can do it in so many different cool ways, imagery, video where, there's just voiceover, you're just producing it, right? Or infographics, we can go down the line of all these different creative ways. Webinars, yes.
Yeah.
Analysts, like you don't have to be the center of attention. You don't even have to be on camera.
Yeah.
You don't.
As long seriously, as you know how many webinars I've been on? Like it's, I can't swing a dead cat without running into a webinar. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'm in 2 webinars at once, and I'm just like, hey, what's going on here? But it's a chance to see those faces that you normally saw, at MJ Biz, or that you saw at, Cannabis World Congress or the Rad Expo or whatever. It's cool to see those faces and kind of remember like, hey, listen, there they are. What's up? We're in this together. So I think it's definitely, this is not the time for brands to go dark.
No.
Let me just say this right now. Yeah. And I do have a vested interest because I'm a media guy and we rely on partnerships and sponsorships and things like that. So full disclosure here. But I've been through this kind of stuff before. I was in advertising and marketing and media during 9/11.
There you go.
I was calling on companies for Major League Baseball in New York on September 11th, 2001.
Well, there you go.
And my boss came out and was like, get off the phones. Yep. He was like, stop it.
We're done.
And we went through this in 2007, 2008. So I've got a couple stripes, I've been through these kind of things, and I'm telling you right now, it's more important than ever for companies to not go dark and to really just kind of maybe change their tone, of course, be sensitive to what's going on right now, but also don't be afraid to reach out. And most importantly, just try to help. Yep. Just try to be a helper. They say, Mr. Rogers says that, during times of crisis or whatever look for the helper. There's always going to be someone to help. Exactly. This is a good opportunity where brands can step up and they can be that helper.
And one good thing there's a lot of good things about cannabis space, but one of them is everybody's ready for that. They were like in cannabis, they're much used to, yes, there was 2008, and yes, there was 2001, but there's also been, it's been illegal, it's been legal, it's medicinal here. Here's all these extra regulations for you to hurdles for you to jump over. So the community is used to, big hurdles to overcome and climb, and now of course, we're being put to the test, not just in the community, but the world. And one of the businesses or one of the types of commodities that's really standing out as resilient in the face of this is the cannabis space. So I don't care if you're a brand who is, consumer facing and very much, fun and entertainment. Yes, lean into that. You don't have to all of a sudden talk about the science behind the product. Be yourself, right? So it's about being transparent, but it's also about putting out what that side of you, that people like or that people gravitate towards, whatever that would be. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And like I said at the beginning, being authentic is part of it. And people buy into authenticity when you're real, when you put it out there, kind of warts and all. Yeah. And that's okay because everybody's going through stuff right now. What we've realized over here is that I might wake up one day and I'm super fired up and somebody on the team is just having a crap day. And then the next day it's vice versa. Yeah. So we've got to be there to help each other, to lift each other up, to try to do that. But we've also got to understand that, these are tough times. There's people going through some stuff, and it's okay. Yeah, it's okay to be real and to not be like perfect and awesome every day because nobody's ever been through anything like this. There's a lot of uncertainty out there. But back to your point. just being there and being visible and making connections and stuff like that is really, really important, because, you could make a connection or acquire a client or a partnership or some new people on your team.
That's right.
Let's not forget, there's a lot of really good people out there that have been laid off or have been furloughed. This is a great time for companies to grab talent that before wasn't even available. So, again, it's about being authentic. It's about being real, but it's also about looking at the situation that we have right now and saying, how can I bring value? What can I do? And how can we, hopefully come out of this maybe a little bit better? And, same thing with our partners, our people, whatever.
Yeah. Speaking of, taking stock and seeing what you can do, I do believe you guys have a webinar coming up soon. Would you care to talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the topics that we really thought was important was helping brands understand how to communicate during these times, how to take advantage of the situation from kind of a marketing standpoint. In other words, while a lot of companies are pulling back, there's other companies that are getting really good deals on sponsorships and advertising and stuff like that with an eye towards the future. So we are going to, I believe it's on the 19th. And they'll be able to check on our website here. Yeah, May 19th, we're going to do a free webinar that's going to be on just that topic right there: brands, communication, and creating a bond with the outside world during a crisis.
Very, very cool. So if you guys want to check that out, I'm sure there'll be information on all of Cannabis and Tech Today's their site and all their social media platforms as we get closer to the 19th. And so,
bring your
of course,
popcorn.
Yeah, bring your popcorn. It should be a heck of a time. Mr. Warner and the team will be there, helping you guys out and talking about, different ways that you can brand. I could talk for days like you could about this, because it's just so important, I think, for companies to be out there. And, folks, if you're a cannabis company looking for a great outlet or some help, Cannabis and Tech Today and Charles and his team are fantastic. So actually, before we take off today, let's make sure everybody knows where to find you guys out there.
Yeah, so we're pretty easy to find. We're on all the social media channels and everything like that. It's Cannatech Today, and our website is cannatechtoday.com. And we've even got right now, we've got free digital subscriptions. So we've got a lot of content that's out there, and we've got a whole bunch more coming down the pike. We launched an initiative a couple weeks ago. It's called Cannatech Today, Cannatech Tomorrow. It's just kind of letting the industry know, hey, we're here for you today, but we also want to be here for you tomorrow. So we've got some free job boards, directory listings. Like anybody that's listening right now, go to our website and get a free directory listing. If there's anything you need, we're offering some free consulting, advertising, subscriptions. We did a whole bunch of fulfillment where people were like, hey, I'm going through a rough time. Can I get a subscription right now? We're sending them out for free. So it's just the little things that we can try to do. But please visit our website, sign up for the newsletter, follow on social, get involved. But we definitely want to be a part and help the industry right now. And we really appreciate partners like you, Brian.
Well, we appreciate you too, Charles, of course. And, you can also find Charles and Cannabis and Tech Today on the services index on the Wrazel website too. If anybody out there is looking for ancillary service providers, it's a great resource for you. And of course, if you're looking for businesses, we have a really strong business database too. So between the two resources, Cannabis and Tech Today and Wrazel, you have a really, really good comprehensive viewpoint of what's going on in the space today, and a lot of ways to help yourself through marketing and advertising and in one end, and then marketing and advertising investment opportunities or your brand itself in Wrazel. So we look forward to the future, of course. Charles, thank you so much for being on today. I look forward to doing it again soon.
Thanks, Brian, for bringing the razzle dazzle, my man.
I do what I can, my friend. Have a good one. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thanks a lot. And as Russell Wilson would say, go Hawks.
Indeed. Go Hawks. See you later, Charles.
See ya.